All right. Well, I'm Gardze.
I'm Zach.
And this is the DASHcast. So today we're going to start talking about listings. Listings in our market, what we're seeing, what we're doing, where people go wrong, where agents go wrong. Honestly, where agents go wrong, I think, is probably where we'll spend a lot of the time here. I'll tell you, in terms of credibility and support, I guess, let's say we just found out, what do we do, about 1,600 plus transactions?
Almost 17, yeah.
Almost 1,700 in calendar 2025. And that's just in our Raleigh area market. And so, you know, I think we have an opportunity to see the market in a lot of ways through a lot of sets of eyes. You and I both support a number of agents in our team. And so any of the listings we do have, I'm not going to say intimately involved in, but I would say that we have a good understanding of where many agents are succeeding and where many tend to bump their head in our current market. Is that a fair statement?
I think so. I think a lot of times it's all about how you prepare yourself before you go into these listing appointments, but also just working with buyers in general. You have to have the right mindset, right confidence, all that stuff to make sure that you can be successful for them.
Sure, yeah. And I think one of the big things we do is, again, preparing our agents to help prepare their clients. One of the scariest things in the world for anybody, right? What scariest thing in the world? Go. For you.
I don't have fear. I just don't
believe
fears.
It. No, I don't believe it.
Fears.
All right. So me, heights and I don't get along. We're not going to say
really?
that word. Yeah, no, it's just not my thing.
Like climbing up a ladder or like
no, to the point like you know those like hotels where like you have all like the things are on the outside and it's like nothing in the middle. Yeah. So I'm that dude that's like rubbing my shoulder along your door as I'm walking past getting to my room.
Really?
Yeah, it just doesn't.
What about airplanes?
Heights and I just don't get along. Airplanes, I'm cool. I got a thing. I just put in my headphones. I watch my movie and I don't talk to anyone. No, it's great too because my wife, she's a bit of a chatty Cathy. I'm not that person on the plane, but it's okay because she sits in the middle seat. I sit on the aisle seat, and that poor stranger sitting next to her is going to have 3 hours of wild entertainment.
So this might be a little off topic, but
no, I'm
more
good.
Of like that's a fear that really traps you? You feel, or is it more like it's something that startles you?
Should I be laying down, or are you going to get out your yellow legal pad and really dig into this a little bit? Tell me how that makes you feel, Zach.
Right.
You know what? We're not getting into this. Okay. Greatest fear for most people that they don't even know what it is this. Not knowing what's coming, right? The fear of the unknown, uncertainty, right? That's the scariest thing for people. And what I consistently preach with so many people is, look, like sellers are going through one of the wildest, scariest journeys in their life, right? You're taking where generational wealth is built and lost. You're taking one of your largest financial assets in the entire world, and you're preparing to offload it, right?
Right.
And again, big decisions are made. We talk 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%, but a $500,000 house, that's $5, $10, $15, $20, $25,000. That's as my 16-year-old is starting to prepare for college, that is well on your way to 1 year of an out-of-state tuition, which means the world to my wife and I as we're starting to talk about what these things cost. And I think so many people living the American dream here and building wealth by way of real estate, when it comes time to sell, right? Obviously, you're going somewhere, but you know, I think every single decision you make has a compounding impact on your life, right? And I think what we talk about a lot, and I think you and I both do this very well with not only our own sellers, but with the agents that we coach and teach and support, is helping give them the knowledge base that we've earned the hard way by making those mistakes, by banging our head against the wall.
A lived experience.
A lived experience. You said it so well the other way. What did you say? That was exactly it.
It's basically
the
just
whole
like,
training was
we just have like a lived experience of failure. So you learn from your failures, right? You fall down, you get back up. Right. And that's the best way to handle a situation anyway. So if we've already lived through that experience and learned through those failures, why not teach others so that they don't have to go through them?
And hopefully they, unlike our children, right? That hurts. That's going to hurt. You shouldn't do that, right? And they still do it. Hopefully these true professionals that we're teaching, coaching, supporting are going to take our word for it more often than not and then go out and win, right? And one of the things we harp on and one of the things we spend a lot of time with is helping these newer agents who haven't done it as often as we have or as many times as we have to understand what's going to come up next, to understand what sort of roadblocks may happen, right? Look, nothing is going to go cleanly or clearly in any real estate transaction, right? And no real estate transactions are the same. So it's not like I can tell you exactly what's going to happen and when. But if I can tell you that more often than not, when you get to this scenario, here's a couple of pitfalls you might fall into, right? Here's a couple of things that may happen. And I think what gives us an advantage over many is simply that we do have that learned experience, that lived experience, that idea that, yeah, no, I did that. It hurt. I don't want to do that again. Right. And to be able to share that with other people is powerful. Right. So today, I think we'll probably talk through a little bit of what we know, what we've learned, what we're experiencing, what we're seeing out there right now, and kind of how we're helping coach people through it. Right.
Yeah. I mean, we're all on the same kind of path when it comes to selling a house. Right. But there's always these off ramps that can happen. And we all go a speed bump here, an off ramp there, all these different things can take place, but it's about setting expectations with our sellers and our clients to help them feel best prepared. And that's, I feel like you do a really great job of this as well, coaching our agents to do that.
Yeah, 100%. So look, I think, as a realtor, you're a professional, right? Similar to a doctor, similar to a lawyer, similar to so many people that are out there, right? Skosh less school,
Should
right?
Be more school.
No, I mean, real estate school wasn't a fun experience, but, I think as it comes down to it, though, this is our opportunity, though, when we get into somebody's house, right? That's their safe space.
Right. That's
where nobody can touch me or mess with me, right? That's my home. That's my house. That's my safe space. And to be quite honest with you, I mean, hell, I don't have many of my friends over, let alone a random stranger who's going to come up and judge me in my house one day, right? It's a scary moment as much for a seller as it is an agent walking in and trying to win someone's trust at a listing appointment, right? And so a lot of what we do is help prepare people for how to really set the stage for said appointment, how to talk them all the way through what to do at that appointment, and then honestly, how to make people feel okay about the process and who's going to support them through it, right? So what if you could give a new agent one piece of advice if they're going on their very first listing appointment, what would it be?
To be prepared. I think the most important thing is to do your homework, to know everything there is to know about that house. So if there's stuff that's available on the market nearby, it's good to know what those things are selling for. Because, if I know that Sally down the street is listed for $390 and I want to list at $400 and the agent doesn't even know that, that's not good, right? So make sure that we're educating ourselves beforehand. And of course, you only ask for one thing, but it's good to have confidence, good to be humble about the process, just to be willing to be present and to help serve them. Because at the end of the day, like you said, it's a scary experience, the uncertainty, the unknown. And something we preach at Dash, get in front of them, get them to like you, get them to trust you, right? And if we can't build that trust and get them to like us, why would they want to work with us for their biggest asset?
Yeah, no, and I think, again, for new agents, and look, a lot of agents, what do we want to do, right? I'm fine chasing around buyers and all that good stuff. I'm fine spending 8 hours on a Saturday to go show, 15 houses. But to be fair, depending on the market, it sure is nice to field phone calls, right? It sure is nice to be the listing agent. Back in the day when we had a shortage of inventory and people would call and, Mr., is it Gardze? Is that how you pronounce it? Is it Mr. Gardze? Yes. How can I help you? Right? Now these days it's like, what do you pay a buyer's agent?
Right.
I don't even get a hello out of it, but hey, such is life. I think we've both been around long enough to know that the real estate world is cyclical, if nothing else. And so the time will come again when we in the Triangle here are a little short on inventory, and maybe they pronounce my name right again, right?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're, I think, at 4.6 months of inventory. Yeah. Things are sitting on the market at like 63 days on average. So it just depends on, like you said, it is cyclical. There's ebbs and flows of all aspects of real estate, So
look at you. Stats, man. Stats win, right?
I mean, stats are important.
Stats are you kidding me?
Data,
There's nothing
right?
more. Data is something you don't have to hide behind. You can stand proudly next to at all points, right? I mean, there's all this feeling, and I really think if we do this, but to be able to share stats and data and to give people the confidence that they need when they're looking for the right person to guide them through a very scary experience is invaluable, right?
Yeah,
and so for you to be able to throw out some of those little stats right there, boom, you got my trust, right?
Yeah, and it's the confidence to know how to interpret that data, like what that means.
Sure.
Like you mentioned the pandemic, average days on market was 3 days, right? So homes were selling in coming soon. They could sit in coming soon for 30 days without any showings happening. They could sell instantly, right? I had a listing that we put on the market, went under contract in an hour. Now, when I have a seller and I go on the market, and an hour later they text and say, hey, what happened after that first showing? It's like, well, settle down. That's not the way it is now, right? The market is just different now. It's setting those expectations up front. And, it's just interesting.
Right. And it'll come around again because there's, again, so many macroeconomic factors that impact the day-to-day of what you and I do, right? Interest rates are a big one. The affordability for people, right? I mean, having lived through the pandemic and having everybody in the world want to come move right to the most beautiful part of the U.S. right here in North Carolina, right?
In the middle of the state, too.
In the middle of the state.
Right to the mountains, right to the beach.
That's right. And so we get this influx of people who can work from anywhere. And why wouldn't you want to come work here, right? I say that after we just had a bunch of snow and ice and all that good stuff, which isn't normal for us. But still, we have all these people moving here, and it really shifts the affordability for so many. As we had double-digit appreciation year over year for a couple of years, and all of a sudden a house that you or I might have sold, a cute little 3-2 starter townhome for $175, now $425, right? And we're not talking a very long period of time here, and I'm talking the exact same house 5 or 6 years later. Crazy to see what's changed so far, just in the 9 years since we've been in the business.
Yeah, and I've had sellers that are, confused, and buyers as well. That's just like, well, they bought this for $500K 20 years ago, and now they're selling it for 1.5. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, well, that's how appreciation works. Usually it appreciates 1.5 to 5% every year. But during the pandemic, we had double-digit appreciation, 20% both years.
Just nuts. So, we could probably spend 3 hours just talking about
numbers.
Learned and lived experiences. No, I mean those couple of pandemic years. Those were crazy time. There was this weird 4 or 5 week when nobody knew what the hell was going on, and then real estate. Boy, did we get back and rolling. So, anyways, let's move on a little bit because I think again, talking listings. You told me already the best advice you could give to a new agent is to be prepared, right? You got to come in and you got 30 or 45 minutes at somebody's home, their safe space, to come in and present yourself as the guide they need, right? As the individual who can walk them through one of the scariest things that's going to happen, right? They're going to have a pit in their stomach for weeks as they're going through this process, living like a stranger in their own home. So it's always prepared for showings and always ready, and at the moment's notice, running out of their house so somebody else can wander through it and judge them. Doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun, right? Now, in the pandemic years with 30 offers, that was kind of fun to comb through 30 offers for sellers, right? These days, when houses are sitting on the market a little longer, all right, we have entirely different expectations. And so being able to set those things for sellers is important, right? So when you're going into a listing appointment right now, how are you best preparing your sellers for what they're going to see even before we list the property, right? I mean, there's many things we got to do, many boxes to check. How are you helping them understand how important that time between when I come and talk to you at your home and before we go active on the market?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is finding out what their motivation is, right? Because at the end of the day, do we need to sell or do we want to sell? Because if I need to sell, then there's some things that we probably should do to the house to make sure we're ready, right? To make sure it looks decluttered, depersonalized. There's not junk everywhere. It looks nice. If there's a couple things that we could fix, if it's in the budget, we have liquid assets to do that, let's do it. If there are, just things in the yard that we want to make the yard look nice, we want to do different things like that. But if we don't have to sell, our biggest job is trying to talk people out of houses, here at Dash at least. And so I try and talk people out of selling their houses if it doesn't make sense. The richest people in America, they buy property. They don't just sell it, right? So they try and build wealth over and over and over again. So honestly, my job is to try and get in there and say, do we really need to sell this house? And if we do, then the steps that I would help us to do to take that are, we need to make sure that we're prepared. We price it right and we prep it well. And if we've got the price set properly, then that will attract buyers. They're going to go through on Zillow. They're going to see the first 3 pictures, the price. And if they like it, they're going to swipe or they're going to heart it. If they heart it, they're going to click the button and reach out to an agent or reach out to their agent and try and see it.
So here's my problem with this. You dropped like 3 or 4 golden nuggets that I'm not even able to slow you down quick enough to be able to help and like dissect some of those things that you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And so you talked first about, do you need to sell, right? And again, I only get paid when something sells, right?
Sure.
I mean, on closing day is the day that they get paid and I get paid, right? And so this whole idea of saying, do we have to sell, is such a powerful thing to do with somebody, because that idea, that mindset of being able to say, I never want to be your listing agent. I only want to help you acquire properties. from here till forever. Generational wealth. I mean, look, that's the one thing not building anymore. If it's dirt, people, right? And owning property is a wonderful thing to be able to support not only your family, but future generations of your family, right? And so I think that idea in pressure testing, is this the right choice for us? Like, do we need to do this? Is this something that really, really makes sense and that we have to do? And then I'll walk through the process of, what would it look like if we stuck a renter in here for a little while, right?
Right.
What would it look like if we hung on to this thing for a little while? What could it look like for you financially? Again, that's not my world. I don't live in that world, right? I know great people who live in that world that I can talk to you about and send you to, but I think having that conversation to help people to understand and really then reinforce either you want to do this or you don't, right? And either you're willing to put up with all the bullshit that comes with selling your house or not. And so when we can talk through and pressure test that a little bit first and saying, hey, do we have to do this? It's such a great opportunity for sellers to remind themselves why I'm doing it, right? I mean, there's that whole idea of the pain funnel, right? And we've talked about that from our sales training in the past. The idea of understanding their pain, their motivation, the thing that's going to make them not only want to go through the process, but successfully do all the things necessary. You started then from there talking about preparing a home, right? Decluttering and depersonalizing, two of the most powerful things that people can do, because buyers buy emotionally, they justify rationally. And so to declutter the house in the 20 minutes I'm walking around here, oh my gosh, there's so much space. And oh my gosh, look at all the countertops. And oh my gosh, like I could bake a dozen cookies with the grandkids right now. This is wonderful, right? You set this experience for people as you're going through. And then depersonalizing. I use this example often for people because there's 3 distinct colors here in the triangle. Ready? There's NC State red, there's Duke blue, and there's UNC blue, right? And they're 3 very distinct colors. And if I was to put them,
it's okay.
Well,
I know you like South Carolina, but you can say Carolina.
Again, my wife being a South Carolina graduate, when we say Carolina, that means a Gamecock. So it's a very different thing. But again, like seeing those colors, I've literally had buyers turned away. Their whole demeanor changes because that means something to them. And now it could be, again, if you hit it right on and you're a UNC guy and the potential buyer's UNC guy, all of a sudden it's like, all right, we're in a place and we're seeing things and this is great. And I like this house, right? But again, you're painting a picture, you're creating an experience for people. And so again, that decluttering, depersonalizing, nailed it. 2 of the absolute best and perfect things. And again, when you understand the motivation behind what people are wanting to accomplish in the sales process, only then can you get to the point where they're going to consistently remind themselves what it takes to find success in this, right?
Right.
Sure, you could run outside this weekend and you could spend 12 hours doing yard work to make sure that we have a pretty picture when people pull up for showings, but you could also sit around for 12 hours. You could also do 100 other things, right? And so it's not me, your realtor, who's going to come and trim the bushes away from the house and who's going to put a fresh coat of paint on all the smudged stuff out front, right? I mean, it's up to you, client. So I can lead a horse to water, but I surely can't make him drink.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, it's important to tell clients to count the cost, right? Count the cost of everything that you have to do with the house. Do we need to sell? Count the cost of what it's going to cost us to sell it. The time, sweat equity involved to fix up the house, to do certain things, like you said, the landscaping. There's a lot involved. It's not just go on the market and then someone buys it. Oh. In a perfect world, it is, but that's not always the case.
Nailed it. I mean, the marketing aspect, our goal in pictures and pricing and everything we're doing, it's just straight marketing, right?
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for me to present a product that will either convince you to get your butt off your couch and go see it, or to just scroll on past and find the next one, right? And truly, I think everything that we encourage our sellers to do is with one goal in mind. It's to get people off their couch into the house, right? Only then can you buy it emotionally, right? Buyers buy emotionally, they justify rationally, right? I say that all the time, and I coach sellers through it, along with agents, to help them understand that you're creating an experience for people, and they're going to invoke an emotion. And either that emotion is something like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to call this home, or meh, smells like pets in here, I'm going to hit the road, right?
Right.
So great stuff. Let's switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
We're going to give a quick 60-second update on what you're seeing in the market. Yes, this is going to be triangle specific, but I'd love to just better understand what you're seeing and what you're saying. If you run into somebody today and they say, oh, Zach, you wouldn't believe it, we're actually thinking about getting into the market right now.
Yeah.
What are you going to tell me?
Well, if you're trying to buy a house, right now is a great time to buy it. There's inventory that's popping up. There's about 4.6 months of inventory, which means there's options out there. And average days on market is around 63 days right now. And the good news is that if I want to buy something, I can probably get it for 3% under asking price, because that's what we're seeing right now on average. Homes are selling for about 97 to 98% of the list price. So if you're trying to buy something right now, you could probably get a deal. And the rates as well, they're anywhere from like 5.5 up to about 6, depending on where you're looking at and where you're shopping. For selling, again, go back to what we talked about earlier. Is it the right time to sell? Is it something you need to do, or is it something you want to do? We got to count the cost and go from there.
Fantastic. Now, good houses are still selling quick, right? You're priced right. You're prepared right.
Exactly.
I think,
Location,
again,
of course, too.
with that level of inventory that we're seeing, right? And again, it ebbs and flows a little bit. We're coming right into the spring market soon. But with that level of inventory, if you price appropriately and market your home correctly, we're still seeing some homes move very quickly.
Absolutely. Okay. I have one right now, under 300,000. It's a ranch. And the first 12 days on the market, we had 3,000 views on Zillow and 200 plus saves. And we already have an offer, and it's out to the sellers right now to sign and go under contract. And that was 12 days. So we priced it right. We prepped it well. Boom, under contract.
Now, I want to kind of elaborate on one other thing you said there. So you were giving me a months of inventory number, and I think it's really fair for us to help describe that that's a nationwide number that many utilize, right? Now, what it does, though, is it looks at both supply and demand, right?
Yes.
It isn't just simply that there are X number of houses on the market. It's the number of houses available correlated with the amount of buyer activity there is currently, right?
Right.
And so that truly says that if no new houses went on the market tomorrow, moving forward, we'd run out of houses to buy around here in the triangle in about 4.3 months.
Exactly.
Okay. I think, again, very important stat and figure. It's used quite often, but I think we sometimes need to dial it in a little bit for our buyers and our sellers just to better understand how that's going to impact you. And you nailed it, right? You said, look, 4.3 months of inventory, right? Which right now is a little higher or lower than we've seen. Go ahead. Tell me a little bit more about what you've seen over the last year. How about?
Yeah, I mean, it's ebbed and flowed between 3 months of inventory up to 5 months of inventory. It kind of ebbs and flows depending on just the seasonality of the year, right? Usually more listings come on the market right after MLK Day. It's just typically in the triangle, that's when the daffodils bloom and the spring market is sprung. And typically going down after Halloween, not as many houses go on the market. So that's where you see a shifting in your inventory numbers.
Love it. Yeah. And we did. It's funny. This year we had a little bit of a failure to launch. We had a fantastic January.
Yeah.
I mean, a fantastic January. And then you get the ice storm and then the snowstorm. And, normally we're good for, a couple inches of snow once a year or something. But the world shut down a little bit. And then, wind gusts in the teens and all this stuff that as a thin-blooded Floridian by birth, I'm surely not set up for. So it was funny. We saw a stellar January, I think.
Absolutely.
And then we really have had a tough couple of weeks here wherein generally we'd be seeing that shoulder season of the spring market, right? I would have expected us to have a really, really good last couple of weeks. But again, I think buyers are thawing, right? And over the next several weeks as we get into the meat of the spring season, I anticipate it being a good one based on a number of factors, right? I mean, interest rates have come down a little bit finally, right? And I think the affordability for some, since some of our pricing around here has leveled off, plateaued, I would say, is a little bit more in line with what some of the buyers around here are able to. I don't have the word for that, Zach. Do you have the word for that?
Affordability.
That's not the word I would have used, but we're going to go with that and we're going to keep it moving. So, fantastic. Well, so great 60-second segment. I think I made it an 8-minute segment. So you're welcome. It wasn't you this time, Zach, just me. But I think now, what are we going to do next? What do you want to do?
I think you have maybe let's talk about some red flags that you're seeing in the industry for agents, specifically for, when we're working with clients, different things like that. What are some red flags that you're seeing the agents are dealing with most often?
All right, so I'm going off the cuff a little bit here, Zach, but when you said red flags, the first thing I go to is my experience dealing with brand new agents. Okay, I've helped coach agents for several years now, and I've done the onboarding process for us for quite some time to help turn really nice people into really great agents, right?
Absolutely.
And I think one of the biggest things that people don't quite understand when they get into this industry is what it actually looks like on a day-to-day, right? I mean, HGTV's been a thing for a long time, and they walk around with your clipboard and you're pointing out pretty things and look at the granite, look at the countertops, look at that gray, isn't it lovely? And what people fail to understand is you're pouring every penny you can beg, borrow, and steal into this thing, right? I mean, this is an asset, right? And we have to ensure that that asset is well prepared for its new owner, and it's going to hold that new owner in good stead for quite some time, right? I think what's funny is, we've used this methodology of talking people out of houses, right? This idea of being able to point out not just the things that are pretty. I mean, sure, if somebody did a really nice job, if somebody's got really great granite, if somebody's really stands out in the neighborhood, yeah, I'm going to point it out. But I think what many agents don't do as they're walking through a property is point out things that are wrong, right? And that's so counterintuitive for many because they're like, excuse me, sir, I don't get paid if they don't buy a house. You know that, right? Yeah, bro, I got you. All right. But I think the biggest thing is helping people to understand that your job isn't transactional, right? Yeah, we get paid each transaction, but I mean each transaction, right? And if you do this job right, you're building a business that could pay you in perpetuity, right? You're putting yourself in a place to be someone's real estate go-to beyond just a single transaction. And so what we've always done and what we pride ourselves on is walking people through a home and telling them shit that's wrong with it, not just everything that's right? Pointing out the things that may cost you money now in the long run or things that will negatively impact the resale value, right? That little noise out back with that road that's about 50 yards from your backyard, like, yeah, you can put a water feature in, or, oh, no, it doesn't bother me at all. But it's my job to make sure I tell you that, hey, dude, it's cool and all, and your water feature is going to be great for you guys. But when you outgrow this house and you call me in 5 years and say, hey, it's time to sell, and I tell you, good luck selling, because there's 6 other in the neighborhood that are currently on the market, and yours is going to be the last one to go, and that's why, right? So I think, again, the biggest red flag for me, I think, is some of the agents in our industry don't fully appreciate and understand what they're supposed to do and how vital it is to what they really are here for, right? I mean, sure, we push paper and we make sure the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, but by God, helping to ensure and pressure test that somebody's choosing the right property for them before moving forward, especially here in North Carolina with non-refundable due diligence money on the line, by God, we're missing opportunities. So the biggest red flag I'm seeing right there and where my head went straight to is that. Zach, I think we talked a little bit about listings. I think we gave a great general overview of some of the things we're running into. Honestly, we could spend hours talking about it. We could spend hours talking about the market. We could spend hours. God, we really do. We could spend a lot of time digging more into some of the red flags we're seeing, some of what we're seeing with listings, helping people prepare. But I think, honestly, today was a pretty good conversation.
I think so.
For us to kind of walk through just the top end of what we're seeing and how it's impacting some of the buyers, sellers, and agents in our team and some of the other teams that we're working with, right?
Absolutely. And I honestly would say that if you want more of this kind of content, let us know. And you could always come to Dash, work at Dash as an agent, and hear from us all the time.
Yeah. You want more of this, man? Yeah, you want more of this? We got it. No, look, that is very fair, but I think for today we've probably given them enough, right?
I think so.
Love it. All right, good stuff.